NFL Weekly Rundown, Conference Championship Week. Danny, hello. Let's talk about the games of last week. The Saturday afternoon game was Houston at Kansas City. Did you watch it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not surprising.
Not surprising, and pretty much the Chiefs handled their business, right? It never really was that close. I think Butker made a field goal that made it maybe 11. And then did the Chiefs take a safety on the very last play that made it 9 points or something like that? I think the final score was 23-14. So we both got the winner right. We didn't get the spread right because we thought Houston would keep it kind of close.
Yeah.
But, Kelsey, you didn't do very well on your fantasy team, but picking Kelsey, he had his best game of the season.
Really?
I think so. I mean, I
How
think
much points?
he had like 80 yards and a touchdoon, which gets you 14 in our league.
Yeah, I saw that really good play where he made it like 5 or 4 yards short of the end zone.
Yeah, and it looks like he's not that fast anymore,
Yeah.
but he's really shifty. He'll catch a ball and then turn around and then he'll kind of shake and bake his way down the field. He still has that. So the Chiefs took care of business. In the night game, how much of the Washington at Detroit game did you see?
A lot.
Yeah.
Until the very last pick of the game.
Okay, so since it was a Saturday night, you got to stay up late?
Yeah.
That's cool. That was a surprise because Detroit was a 10-point favorite.
If he would have got the touchdown, went for the onside kick, Hail Mary.
Maybe. They still lost by 45-31. So high scoring game. I think the injuries finally just caught up on Detroit's defense.
Yeah.
And Jaden Daniels, it just continues to amaze.
I just saw him running onto the field when they won.
Happy, but
Yeah, super happy.
but calm. He knows there's more to go. And you know what? Washington is playing so much better than what people thought. Anything they do at this point is just extra. Because nobody could have expected this. Maybe the guys in the Washington locker room, maybe the coach, maybe the players believed, but fans and the experts, they didn't believe. And I don't know if you heard, you probably didn't, but Detroit's offensive coordinator, their coach, Ben Johnson, new coach of the Bears.
Is he okay?
Well, he's never been a head coach before. He's only been an offensive coach. But, the Lions had an exciting offense, didn't they?
Yeah.
Now, the Lions have pretty good players. The Lions have one of the best offensive lines in football. These are things that the Bears will not have, at least right away.
Yeah.
So he's going to have to figure it out. His main task is going to get the most out of Caleb Williams. Like Ben Johnson, come in, make Caleb Williams the star that we hope he is.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go in kind of dipping my toe in the water. I'm not going to get too excited, but this was the guy who was the top coach. So, you can't help but feel pretty good about that. Okay, getting back to the games. On Sunday, I imagine you watched the Rams at the Eagles.
Mhm.
Fun game in the snow, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of snow.
A lot of snow by the end of the game, and Saquon, some big plays down the stretch. And
Did you take Saquon on your fantasy
I did. He had a
team?
huge week, and I think Gibbs did too. They both just exploded, so they pretty much won me the game. But still, even with Saquon having a great game, the Rams had a chance at the end there. Stafford was driving, had the ball, and I think they were stopped on a 4th down, maybe. Or something. I don't think
it was
there
a
was.
4th down. Stafford threw out of bounds.
Yeah, that strikes a
Tried
bell.
to get it to Puka Nacua.
Yep, I remember that now. So the Rams made it interesting, but Eagles prevail. And in the final game, we knew this game was going to be the game of the week, maybe the game of the year. It did not disappoint. Bills against Ravens, did it? That was a great game.
Yeah.
Mark Andrews, tough game. The fumble around
Yeah.
midfield, and then he didn't catch the 2-point conversion when it was there.
He had it, but he kind of like fumbled it when he was going down.
Yeah, what you pretty much have to do to get a catch, you got to get 2 feet down, inbounds, and then you got to make a football move. Like you got to turn, or you have to maybe get a 3rd foot down, or do something else to call it a catch. So he just didn't have it long enough. But yeah, you're right. Jackson put it right in his hands. And it was tough because one of those teams was going to lose. And what a season for Lamar Jackson. But it's not going to end in a Super Bowl. It might end in his 3rd MVP. I think it's him or Josh Allen. And the
How much has Josh Allen got?
None. 0. The weird thing about the MVP voting is they do it before the season or before the playoffs are over. So, you know, if you thought about it after Sunday's game, I would say Josh Allen is the MVP based on that, right? But the vote was already made. So we'll find out. I think that's either Pro Bowl week or Super Bowl week. Oh, great. We got an intruder already. Well, we'll power through our program. You want to hear how you did on your picks?
Sure.
Straight up picking winners. You went 2-2. You missed the Lions and you missed the Ravens. I went 3-1 because I missed the Lions, but I picked the Bills and they won. Against the spread, we both went 2-2. So on the season, I have wait a minute, how did this go backwards? Oh, I have 202 wins. You have 198. You're 4 behind me. The thing is, there are only 3 games left in the season.
Yep.
So you're not going to catch me picking winners.
Unless you get like all wrong games.
Even if I got all 3 wrong and you got all 3 right, you'd end the season 1 win behind me at this point. Because unless we pick the Pro Bowl. Well, there is no Pro Bowl game, is there? Maybe a flag football game?
Yeah, we could pick that.
I guess that would give you a
we
chance.
could pick NFC or AFC.
Right. But if you pick any of the same winners as I do this week, oh, I didn't even pick the games. Wow. Okay, I'm going to do, I'm not really ready. Okay, against the spread, you're still 3 wins ahead of me, and you're 11 losses better than me. So against the spread, you have won. You won on the season. Congratulations. Pat yourself on the back. Take a bow. Good job. Okay. Shall we get into the first game of Conference Championship weekend?
Commanders, Eagles.
And it's in Philly. I'm going to talk a little bit more than most weeks because we have just 2 games to talk about, right? So we can kind of get a little bit deeper into this. These teams are division rivals, right?
Yeah.
Both in the NFC East. That means they played twice this year. Week 11, the Commanders lost 18-26 in Philly.
But then the next week, Commanders won.
The next time they played, week 16, Philly scored 33, Washington scored 36. The first game really wasn't even that close. I think Zach Ertz scored a really late touchdown to make it an 8-point game instead of 16. So think about it. If it would have been a 16-point game, it kind of would have been a blowout, right? The game in Washington, Hurts was injured in the first quarter. Kenny Pickett came in, and Jaden Daniels led a late comeback. They might have scored a touchdown on the last play of the game to win. Okay, here is one of the keys. When the Eagles have the ball and the Commanders are on defense, my question to you, how are the Commanders going to stop Saquon Barkley? Because he ran for almost 300 yards and 4 touchdowns in the 2 games this year against the Commanders. That's a lot. That's a lot of production in 2 games. And most recently, the Commanders gave up 200 yards rushing to the Lions and 3 rushing touchdowns. So it looks to me like the Eagles are a team that is going to run the ball, and the Commanders have trouble stopping the run. I don't know how the Commanders are going to stop Saquon Barkley and Hurts from running up and down the field.
Unless they just blitz every single play.
Blitz every play, and then you could get burned on the pass, right?
True.
If you blitz every play, all of a sudden A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith might just have one guy on them. So it'd be an interesting strategy. I agree that if you want to stop the run, you have to put guys up near the line of scrimmage to stop it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, here are my thoughts when the Commanders have the ball. Here's my question to you about that. Can the Eagles stop Jaden Daniels and the running game of the Commanders? In the game in Philly, Daniels only had 18 yards rushing. That's not a lot. And the Commanders' running attack was pretty down. In the game in Washington, the running backs for Washington were lousy. Eckler and their other guys, I don't know if Robinson played, but their running backs did not do good. But Jaden Daniels had 9 runs for 81 yards. That's a big game. So the Eagles stopped Daniels in Philly. Daniels did pretty well in Washington. Do you think the Commanders are going to be able to move the ball against the Philly defense?
I think they're just going to have to throw it.
Yeah, so McLaurin, Zach Ertz, Jamison Crowder they have, right? Some other guys. Yeah, they'll have to step up. Okay, I'm going to name one kind of underrated thing to maybe watch in this game. The kickers. Because they're shaky, I think. Zane Gonzalez, he is the 4th kicker of just this season for the Commanders. They've had 4 kickers because I don't know if guys got hurt or they just weren't good or what. He only made 5 out of his 7 kicks in the regular season. Now, he missed a 44-yard field goal against the Lions, which is a field goal that most NFL kickers should make, especially indoors. He did make the winning field goal against Tampa Bay in the playoffs, off the post and in. So Zane Gonzalez, kicker for Washington, I don't know, he's a little shaky. On the flip side, Jake Elliott for the Eagles. He has made all 6 of his field goals in the playoffs, but he missed 3 extra points in the 2 playoff games. So he's been kind of shaky. He did come through with some huge field goals in the snow. If you remember in the game against the Rams, like those field goals were difficult. In the snow, did you see them kind of wiping off a spot so that they could put the ball down on a clean spot of grass? Okay, so I've said what I had to say about this Eagles-Commanders game. Let me hear some of your thoughts. Like, who's going to be the star? Who's going to be the guy who's going to surprise us with a big game? Oh, I should tell you too, the Eagles are favored by 5.5. Okay? I'm going to write down my score. Okay. 5.5 is what the Eagles are favored by. Because it's in Philly, and, Philly was just a better team the rest throughout the season. So Hurts, if you remember, he got a little hurt in that game. I don't think he missed a play, but he had to go into that blue tent to get looked at. So some people are wondering, is he going to be as fast as he normally is? Because it was something in his legs that got hurt. So, but I mean, he's going to play. He's going to play. That much is clear.
So he's pretty healthy.
Pretty healthy. It's just nobody is really 100% healthy at this time of season. Guys just have to play with little injuries. That's just the way it's going to be. Okay. Do you have any thoughts about this game, or you just want to give your score, or what you thinking?
Mostly Saquon Barkley running, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
Kickers are bad, like you said.
Well, a little suspect. They've had their moments, but they've also been shaky at times.
So I don't really know this game.
Okay, it is a tough one. I mean, these are division rivals playing for a third time, so they definitely know each other,
I mean,
right?
Commanders, horrible team last year, great team this year.
Yeah,
Big surpriser.
I know.
A lot of new players and new
Coach. Yeah, the Eagles are kind of a very similar team to what they were last year. Much better defense.
Except for
One big important change.
Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, that's a huge change.
And has Cooper DeJean has had a pretty good rookie year.
Their
right?
rookie corners have had pretty good years. Quinyon Mitchell was banged up in the game against the Rams. He's a cornerback, like DeJean. But I think I read today that he's going to practice this week. So they're expecting that he'll play. They're expecting Mitchell and Hurts to both be to play. So, is it prediction time? You going to tell me your score?
Eagles 28,
Okay.
Commanders 27.
Oh boy, that's a great game. I'm going to agree with you that the Eagles are going to win, and I'm going to agree with you that the Commanders are going to cover the spread. I wrote down Eagles 27, Washington Commanders 23. And the Commanders, if they lose, they have nothing to be sad about because what a great season, and it seems like they've got a bright future, don't you think?
Yeah, definitely.
But I mean, their bright future could continue all the way to the Super Bowl. We'll see.
How much money do you think my Jaden Daniels cards are going to be if they make it to the Super Bowl and win it?
Well, I suggest on cards that you have to wait. You have to wait till you're like as old as I am, probably.
To see how much money that.
Because then, like, think about that Michael Jordan card that I had when I was probably about your age. I bought it.
Yeah.
Well, now it's worth a lot of money. But like the year after I bought it, I don't think the value increased that much in 1 year. The thing is, the future would seem really bright if Jaden Daniels, for your card's value, if Jaden Daniels won the Super Bowl. I mean, you're not going to be a millionaire in 1 year. You're not going to be a millionaire 2.5 weeks from now if the Commanders win the Super Bowl.
But I do have a rookie Bo Jackson card worth like $2,000.
$2,000, really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I think I got it from Danny's cards.
Uncle Danny, yeah. That's a good find. You should put that in a safe place.
I did.
Good.
I put it in my safe and in a case.
Smart, yeah. And it's $2,000. Bo Jackson, he played baseball and football.
It was a baseball card.
Baseball card, Kansas City Royals.
Yeah.
Yep, and he was on
He was on the Raiders.
and they were the Los Angeles Raiders at that time.
Was he better at baseball or
He was
football?
awesome at both. He could do everything on a baseball field. He was an outfielder. He could steal bases. He could hit home runs. He had an arm that you could throw out a guy at home plate from the warning track. He had a great glove. He was a superstar. But in football, so he would play the whole baseball season, and then he'd show up to the Raiders like week 6 or 7 and be like, I'm here to play, guys. And then he was great at football too. But he hurt his hip. He was a running back, yeah, with Marcus Allen. The Raiders moved Marcus Allen to be a fullback to kind of block for Bo Jackson. So think about that. You've got Marcus Allen, who's in the Hall of Fame, this youngster, Bo Jackson, and you say, hey, Allen, you're blocking for Bo.
Wow.
Yeah, and Allen did it. That was the thing. He was a selfless teammate. He didn't want to do it. He wanted to be the main running back, but he's just, I'll do what the coaches ask me to do.
Was that like what David Montgomery did for Jahmyr Gibbs?
That's a little different because Gibbs and Montgomery aren't really on the field at the same time that much.
Like one of them will come in one play and then one
Right.
will go out and then the other one goes in.
Exactly. So they more complement each other. Back when Bo Jackson was playing, it was more like you had a main running back and then you had your backup. So it wasn't like Gibbs and Montgomery where they were kind of getting equal time. It was more like Bo Jackson was going to get all the time, and Marcus Allen was going to get, the scraps.
How long did Bo Jackson play for?
Only 4 years. I think he hurt his hip in a playoff game I think it was a playoff game against the Bengals. He hurt his hip.
When?
I don't remember if the Raiders won that game. It was like 1990. So we're talking 35 years ago, something like that. But yeah, he hurt his hip and he came back as a baseball player, but he just wasn't as fast. He just wasn't as good. There was a guy who, if they had like a Hall of Fame of sports, he should be in it. Because he just didn't play long enough in football to get in. And I think his baseball career just was derailed by that hip injury. Where Bo Jackson at his best was awesome.
So did he make the Hall of Fame for football or baseball?
No. Because a lot of the time you just need a longer career.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. And actually in football he never really even played a full season because he would miss the first 8 games of every year.
Sad.
So it's kind of like he really only played about 30 games probably in the NFL. But it was 30 exciting games. He was just fast and powerful. Well, that was a fun little convo about Bo Jackson, who is a star. And I'm happy to hear you have his card and can appreciate his game. We got one game to talk about. We're just starting. Who plays in the 5:30 AFC Championship game?
Chiefs, Bills.
Yeah. I'm going to talk about the 2 last games these teams played. Week 11 of this season, just a regular season game, right? The Chiefs traveled to Buffalo, and the Chiefs got their first loss of the year, 21-30 in front of Bills Mafia. Josh Allen scored a touchdown with just a little over 2 minutes.
Was
gave them the
that
win.
the game that he got like 4 touchdowns and 4 passing touchdowns?
I think that was against a worse team. I want to say he did that against
I thought
somebody.
it was like against the Rams. Yeah, the Rams.
Yeah, because that was a real shootout.
Yeah.
That was like in the 40s. This game, they probably only scored 3 touchdowns looking at the score. But about a year ago, probably a year and a week ago, these teams played in the playoffs. Kansas City won 27-24. If you remember, Tyler Bass missed a 44-yard field goal with about a minute and a half left.
That could have tied it.
And if he tied it, don't you think Mahomes just would have gotten the kickoff and driven down the field and Butker would have made a field goal anyway? I mean, it might have happened that way anyway. So, okay. Question for you as Quincy tries to invade the room. When the Chiefs have the ball, can the Bills force Patrick Mahomes into mistakes? Because
They do have pretty good defense.
Pretty good defense, and I'm going to tell you a little something. In the 2023 playoffs, in the 2023 playoff game, so last year, Mahomes threw 0 interceptions, and the Chiefs won. In the game of the regular season this year, Mahomes threw 2 interceptions against the Bills, and the Bills won. So it seems like if they can force a turnover, that'd be big. Now, Mahomes did throw 11 interceptions this season, which is a high number for him. But the last 8 games, including the playoff win over the Texans, 0 interceptions by Mahomes. So it seems like his mistakes that he was making were early in the season. Now, all of a sudden, when it matters, Mahomes is playing smarter. When the Bills have the ball, my question to you, can the Bills play keep away? Can they keep Patrick Mahomes on the bench? Because the last 2 games against the Chiefs, the Bills have been really good on 3rd down. So if you're good on 3rd down, you keep Mahomes just sitting there on the bench, right? If Allen keeps converting 3rd downs and they possess the ball, they have kept the ball more than 10 minutes more than the Chiefs the last 2 games. So that seems like a good strategy to beat them, right? Mahomes can't beat you if he's standing on the bench. He's just sitting on the bench. Kansas City did allow the Texans to convert 10 out of their 17 3rd downs. So the Texans were pretty good on 3rd down. Can the Bills be good on 3rd down on Sunday against the Chiefs? Pretty good defense. I don't know.
And the game isn't in Bills Mafia.
It's in Kansas City.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that makes it tough. I'm going to tell one more little piece about this game. It's not really even statistics. It's just saying the Chiefs have a certain mojo about them. Mojo is kind of like they're just charmed. They have all these close wins. They win on blocked field goals. They win because the Raiders snap a ball too early. They win in strange ways. And they're 11 wins, 0 losses in 1-score games this year. So if the game is close, the Chiefs win. Buffalo has made the playoffs 6 years in a row, but they've been knocked out the previous 5 years. And they lost to the Chiefs at this same point in the playoffs in 2020. So 4 years ago during that season, these same teams played in the AFC Championship game. I think it was in Kansas City, and Mahomes won. The point spread, if you want me to whisper, but I'll say it out loud. Chiefs are favored by 2. At least the last time I checked. I didn't look recently, but that's what we're going with here. So I should pick a score. Why don't you tell me a little bit about what you expect to see on Sunday?
Like I said, the Bills game is not in Bills Mafia.
Correct.
The Bills do play way better when it's in Bills Mafia, but they still pretty much always play good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm keeping it close. I'm keeping it high.
High scoring.
Yeah.
That'll be fun for the fans. Everybody likes high scoring, right?
Yeah. And I do think Bills defense is going to get like 2 or 3 picks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that would indicate to me you might be picking an upset.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm picking the Bills 35, Chiefs 31.
Sounds like a fun game.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I would agree with you that if Buffalo can force Mahomes into, I would say they need at least 1 mistake from him. 2 would be great. 3, it seems like that has to be a win. Unless Josh Allen were to make a bunch of mistakes. But he has actually been much less turnover prone than Mahomes this season. Allen has protected the ball really well.
How much Bills fans are going to be there either ways, even
in Kansas City? Well, I think you had asked me how many fans fit in the Bills stadium last week, and I think I said 60,000. It was actually closer to 70,000, I think. So let's just say that at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City, they have 70,000 fans. Boy, I would bet the Bills are going to sneak. We're talking less than 5,000 fans. It's going to be a small portion of the fans. Like, we're talking 1 out of every 20 will probably be a Bills fan. Maybe less. Because the Chiefs fans, do they want to sell their ticket to a Bills fan? Think of it. The Chiefs have a chance to make history. The Chiefs have a chance to be the first team to win 3 Super Bowls in a row. Do you really, as a fan of the Chiefs, do you want to say, I don't think I need to see this game that might be history? You know? That's my thought. So I would not sell my ticket if I was a Chiefs fan, because you got a chance to see something that no team has ever done. You can see them win their game before they win their 3rd Super Bowl in a row. I haven't made my pick yet, though. I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to agree with you that it's going to be a 4-point game, but I'm going to pick 1 touchdown less for each team. So I'm going to say Bills 28, Chiefs 24. And do we have anything else going on?
Are we going to pick the Super Bowl?
Yeah, we're going to pick the Super Bowl, so we'll be back in 2 weeks. And are we going to make a fantasy draft for this week's games? We'll do it off camera this week because your mom's in a hurry to get Emmeline. So we're gonna wrap this one up. Who are we even cheering for this week?
I'm cheering for Commanders and then Bills.
Oh, that'd be a repeat of the Super Bowl that happened in the Metrodome in Minneapolis about 33 years ago or something, I
Who
think.
won?
Washington won in a blowout because the Bills have never won a Super Bowl.
True.
I'm for the Bills. I guess I don't care in the NFC game. Maybe for the Commanders. Go Jaden Daniels, sure. But we'll pick the Eagles. So, hey, congratulations, Bears, on hiring a new coach. You better be worth a bleep. So, go Bears. Go playoffs. Go NFL.
Sorry.
See ya. Okay.